Attention passionate Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Pittsburgh Steelers' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Pittsburgh Steelers fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Let's get to the news now, folks. Hold on to your hats because what I'm about to tell you could reshape the entire AFC North landscape. And honestly, it might even shake up the entire league. You see, the Philadelphia Eagles, sitting pretty at an 8-2 record and seemingly cruising through their schedule, are reportedly considering a blockbuster move that could send shockwaves through the NFL. And believe it or not, this could have huge implications for the Steelers' quest for another Super Bowl title. Sources close to the Eagles indicate that despite their strong record, they're eyeing a bold trade involving A.J. Brown. Yes, A.J. Brown, one of the league's most explosive wide receivers. Now, this isn't just idle chatter. Rumors, notably from Adam Schefter, suggest that Philadelphia might be willing to part ways with Brown in exchange for a first-round pick in the 2026 draft. The reason? Well, it's all about cap space and strategic flexibility. The Eagles are currently navigating a tight $12 million cap, and this move could free up an additional $25 million in 2026, which they plan to use to extend key players like Saquon Barkley and bolster their offensive line. Now you might be thinking, why would the Eagles trade away such a dynamic playmaker, especially when they're doing so well? That's the million-dollar question. But insiders suggest that behind the scenes, there's some internal discontent, especially after injuries plagued their wide receiver room this season. A.J. Brown, a true game changer, especially in open space, has been a nightmare for defenses. His ability to turn short catches into big gains, thanks to his incredible YAC, yards after catch, makes him one of the most dangerous receivers in the league. Since entering the league, Brown has accumulated over 500 receiving yards and 45 touchdowns with a career average of 17, 2 yards per reception. His PFF grade, an impressive 88.9, underscores his elite status. In 2025, even though he suffered a knee injury that limited him to only 9 games, Brown still managed to post solid numbers. 38 receptions on 65 targets, totaling 457 yards and 3 touchdowns. He averaged 12 yards per catch and over 50 yards per game. His EPA, expected points added, per target was 0.32, and he averaged 4.1 yards per route run. What's more, he's been a top performer in contested catches, over 55% of such opportunities, which puts him ahead of most receivers in the league. His ability to make contested catches is a huge asset, especially in clutch moments and against tight coverage. Now let's compare that to the trade of DK Metcalf to the Seahawks in 2025, a move that significantly boosted Seattle's aerial attack by over 180 yards per game. A.J. Brown stands out as an elite upgrade, capable of elevating any offense he's part of. For the Eagles, this potential trade is a gamble. Despite their strong offensive numbers, their defense is giving up an average of 21 points per game, which is surprisingly high considering their reputation. Their pass defense, in particular, has been vulnerable, allowing around 201 yards per game through the air, which is concerning with the playoffs looming. Philadelphia's decision-makers seem to be betting on bolstering their cap room to rebuild areas of their roster that are underperforming. They've got about $12 million in cap space now, but trading away Brown would open up roughly $25 million in 2026. That kind of cap flexibility could be crucial for them to address their defensive line, which has suffered some key losses this season. They need to get stronger up front to help their secondary and keep opponents from exploiting their secondary even more. But here's the catch. Trading away Brown could weaken their offense, especially their quarterback Jalen Hurts, who has been doing well but relies heavily on the threat of Brown's stretching defenses. Meanwhile, for the Steelers, this news could be a golden opportunity. Imagine a scenario where Pittsburgh, currently sitting at 6-4 and averaging about 6 points per game, manages to land A.J. Brown. That would be a game-changer, folks. With a talent like Brown lining up alongside George Pickens, who's been showing flashes of brilliance, the Steelers' passing game could take a massive leap forward. Brown's ability to turn short routes into big gains would alleviate pressure on Kenny Pickett and give their offense a much-needed boost. Think about it. Brown's yards per route run, which is currently over 2 yards above the average of their current receivers, would transform third down conversions from a modest 38% to over 45%. That's the kind of upgrade that could see the Steelers becoming a true playoff force. Adding Brown would also help ease the burden on their run game, which averages around 4.2 yards per carry. Opponents would have to respect the deep threat, which opens up more room for Najee Harris and the running backs to operate. Defensively, Pittsburgh already boasts a solid unit, giving up around 2 points per game, but with a more potent offense, they could control possession longer and keep their defense rested. That's a recipe for success, especially in the cold winter months when playoff games tend to tighten up. Now, let's not forget the historical context here. The Steelers have a tradition of making bold moves to chase championships. Think about their Super Bowl runs in the past. They've always been willing to shake things up when the moment calls for it. Adding a player of Brown's caliber would be in line with that aggressive, championship-minded mindset. And if the Steelers could package some draft capital or players to acquire Brown, it could be exactly what they need to push over the top. Looking at the bigger picture, this potential trade could also impact the AFC playoff picture significantly. Pittsburgh's odds of making a deep run could improve dramatically, especially if Brown helps unlock their passing attack. Right now, the Super Bowl odds for the Steelers are around plus 1,200, but with a move like this, those odds could plummet, possibly to plus 600 or even better. That's a 50% increase in their chances to win it all, which is huge. Plus, in January, when the games get colder and the stakes higher, having a player like Brown who excels in deep routes and contested catches could be the X factor that propels the Steelers to a special postseason run. And of course, we have to consider the fans' perspective. The excitement is palpable. Imagine the roar of Heinz Field if they acquire a player of Brown's caliber. The Steelers have always been about resilience, tough defense, and big play offense, and adding Brown would tick all those boxes. It would send a message to the rest of the league that Pittsburgh is not just here to compete, but to contend for another Super Bowl. The city's passion for their team runs deep, and a move like this would energize the fan base even more, fueling hopes for a championship run that could redefine the franchise's legacy. Of course, no move is without risk. Trading away draft picks or key players could leave some holes, and there's always the chance that Brown might not fit perfectly into Pittsburgh's system, or that the chemistry might take time to develop. But given the Steelers' history of smart, strategic moves, I trust that their front office would weigh all the factors carefully. They understand that to win championships, sometimes you have to take bold steps, and acquiring a player like Brown, if the price is right, could be just what they need to turn the tide in their favor. As we look ahead to the playoffs, the AFC is shaping up to be more competitive than ever. Teams like Kansas City, Baltimore, and Cincinnati are all in the mix, but the Steelers have a real shot if they make smart moves and get a little lucky. Adding a player of Brown's caliber could be that extra piece that pushes them from good to great, from playoff contenders to Super Bowl champions. And for us, Steelers fans, that's what it's all about, believing in the team, dreaming big, and hoping that this season turns into another unforgettable chapter in Steelers history. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YOUTUBE algorithm to keep recommending the latest Pittsburgh Steelers news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. So what do you think, Steelers Nation? Could this be the move that propels Pittsburgh back into the Super Bowl conversation? Are you excited about the possibility of seeing A.J. Brown in black and gold? How do you see this impacting our chances in the postseason? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We want to hear your take. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Steelers. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Pittsburgh Steelers news. We're in this together, and the best is yet to come. Let's go, Steelers.